Okay, good morning and welcome to Shiva YouTube, Iyun with Benzion. Today I want to focus on Kesubos Samach Aleph, number 61. The Gemara talks about a woman bringing in shvachos, which is really the Mishnah. The Mishnah on Nun Tet Amud Beis 59b. It says that a woman has to do 7 malachas for her husband. If she brings in one shivcha, right, presumably means a maidservant to help with these tasks. What are some of the tasks? To cook, to bake, do the laundry, nurse the child, uh, grind the grain or mix, blend, I don't know, use a blender, things like that. So she has to make his bed and provide a minimal income, weave or sew or something like that, provides extra money. So those are the 7 things she has to do for him. If she brings in one shifcha, she does not have to do 3 of them. 2 doesn't do 5 of them. 3, she doesn't have to do, I think it's all 7, but she has to do small things, I guess, like sweeping and things like that. And if she brings in 4, then she doesn't do anything. The psak halacha, she still has to do something because otherwise she's going to go insane or she's going to run after other men. So um, the Gemara asks over here on Samach Aleph, the Gemara says, why is it that, I'm going to skip that Gemara. The Gemara says towards the bottom, 2 dots, even according to Tanakama, that she doesn't do anything if she brings in 4 shvachos. She has to do 3 things for him. She has to mix his drinks. What drinks do you mix? Cocktails. She has to make cocktails for him, and we'll see the Gemara says later she has to bring it to him. And she has to matzah amita. She has to, like the Rishonim explain, means to make the bed as opposed to changing the linens. That's a harder job. That's what the Mishnah meant on Antenna Beis. Matzah amita. She has to make the beds in the morning, and specifically in front of him, she's supposed to make it. And she has to wash his face, hands, and feet. I mean, how many wives actually wash their husband's hands, face, and feet? It's like the little baby. They're giving him a bath or something like that. And what only his face and hands and feet. He has other parts of his body that need to be washed also. She's not allowed to do that. So, and the reason these things are needed to be done, you have to do them, is because they bring to intimacy. These things are drinking cocktails, right before you have a good time. You have some little alcohol, make the bed in front of him, so it looks good. It brings to feelings of chiba, of intimacy, and washing his face. Take a shower together with your wife. She washes your face, your hands, and your feet, and presumably other parts of your body also. And these things, when she's in nida, she's not supposed to do these things because she's not allowed to be together. But the Nida has to do the other 7 malach. What are these 7 malachos, and where are they found in the Kesuba? Where do we see it? Where are these things? Some say, showing the Ritva says the Raisa, she has to do them for him. Some say it's part of Maaseh Yadayim. But we learned on the Gemara Nun Ted and Nun Ches that Maaseh Yadayim is Tachas Mazonos. And the Gemara clearly said, right? The Gemara is going to say later on in the Mishnah, how much is Maaseh Yadayim? It's to be Oseh B'Tzemer. The last thing is that she has to help with the finances, help, earn a small income on the side to supplement what the husband is earning. Depends where you live, depends on inflation, how much she has to actually earn. But that makes also b'semer, she has to work a little bit. But the other 6, what are they talking about? That's Maaseh Yadayim. That would Tiknum Mazonos Tachas Maaseh Yadayim. But where do we know that a husband, every man, every feminist fights this, and every man demands this. You got to cook for me, you got to clean for me, you got to do my laundry, right? Right, a good woman, a good wife, supposed to do these things for her husband. Feminists say, no. Who says we have to do these things for a husband? Maybe the feminists are right. I don't know. But anyway, where in the Torah do we find that? Where in the Ksuva, the Rabbanan, where the rights would we find these things? So that leads me, based on that question, I'd like to suggest that, and clearly, shvachos. What's a shifcha? Shifcha l'shamsho, to service him. I mean, I think that's the lashon of the Mishnah. What does the Mishnah say? And then Tanakh Beis. I don't know. Shifcha. I don't know. Shifcha, curious. Shifcha knainis. I mean, she's just a maidservant and does work in the house. I'm going to start giving shiurim, which I believe are more in line with the truth, in line with what the truth should be, even though these things are distant from our minds nowadays with modern day society. But I really think these true, feminists, claim that women should have the same rights as men and men control women. But the honest truth is that it's a woman's world. This is what it is. Any man who gets married knows, you know, it all ends with the boss. Who's the boss? The wife is the boss. If it's not good with the woman, she controls the marriage. Women exert control over men, and that's when you get married, you find this out. It bothers men a lot of times when women just think of things quicker, practically think of everyday things. They're a step ahead of their husbands. I see a lot of times you go to the bank here, the women are the ones dragging their husbands behind them. The men don't even know how to deal with the bank. It's a sad thing. Women know where to go, when to speak, what to do. Men don't need this, don't understand these things because they're slower, because their heads are in the clouds, either in learning in the sugya or they're in business. That's just what men are. Nashim daitan kalos, right? That's not necessarily a bad thing. It means that they're just more practical, right? They're das. They're thinking about all this intelligence and making money and learning and coming a Rosh Hashiva. Those things are not on their mind. Daitan kalos are able to focus on the world. They're a step ahead of men. So the women really control men in this world. That's the hardest thing to do is kovish as Aisha, right? Pruvu maluas kivshua. You have to be kovisher. It's the hardest thing, and only a real man can do that. A real man can do everything the wife can do, and I really believe that a marriage. Some say a marriage is supposed to be 50-50. You're supposed to split the chores. Some say a cute shot supposed to be 100. You're supposed to each give 100%. But no, I think the reality of a marriage is that the man is responsible for everything, including the cooking and the baking and the cleaning. The wife can help out if she's good at it. But the man ultimately bears that responsibility, both financially and physically, if she can't do it. The man bears, it's 100-0. That's what a marriage is, 100-0. Now, she doesn't have to do anything, he has to do everything, because a real man is able to do everything that a woman is able to do. If you're able to do it, you have to be a good cook. You have to be someone who knows how to clean the house, take care of the kids, do laundry. If you're a man and you can't do these things, you're not a real man, because you can only be smarter than the woman if you could do the things the woman does, and doing better right? Be a better cook than your wife. So, at the end of the day, I don't believe that a woman has an obligation to cook for her husband. She doesn't. The man has an obligation. If the wife is a nice wife, she'll do it. She'll help out. The man's busy, but the obligation rests squarely on the shoulders of the man. He has to do that. So therefore, once this mission says, so where does the mission get from? That she's meshubah to her husband. Where do we find that a woman is obligated to her husband? We find it when he signs up. We talk about ksuba. This Mesachas Kesubos, right? You have to pay a ksuba. I explained even midoraisa. When you get engaged to her, you're obligated midoraisa and a ksuba, because what are you paying for? You're paying 200 zuz or 100 zuz by alman. You're paying for the right to be together with her and the right to own her body sexually, not the right to own her body ishto kagufo, but you own her body only for sexual purposes. So when the Mishnahs talk about ofa and mavashal and things like that, I'm not going to go into the practical, what it means, but, there is something called oral sex. And a woman, as opposed to a man's chiyuv, we'll talk about tomorrow, of ona, where the woman's guaranteed midoraisa ona, that he has to hurt her. Ona is to cause her distress, right? The bare minimum, share exclusive ona is the bare minimum doraisa that she gets, right? The man has to provide her with intercourse, even if it's anal sex, is also ona. But he has to provide that, the basic necessities for her. Women's actually like to be taken advantage of in the bedroom a little bit, not completely where they get, injured or harmed, but there is a concept. We'll talk more about BDSM, if you know what that is. Bondage, discipline, dominance, submission, sadism, masochism, whatever. If you've heard of the movie 50 Shades of Grey, I haven't seen the movie, but I read Google what it's about. But Wikipedia, but it really highlights this idea. And this idea is so fundamental to understanding the real punishments in the Torah. We're going to have to get into that eventually, Mesachas Machos and things like that. Anyway, to make it short and sweet, I just want to say that the malachos that the woman has to do to her husband, she is mechuyev. He bought her right sexually, and then she has to provide anything that he wants, and those include bishul and afiyah. Bishul and afiyah are two different types of oral sex. Tavchenes is to use her hands in a certain way around his penis, and you can think about the other ones. Mechabeset. We'll talk about more of these things, but that's the basic gist of the Mishnah these are sexual obligations that she has to him, because he bought those rights as part of the Ksuba, Midaraisa, and Midarabanan. She has a right of Ona, which the Torah guarantees her. And she also is Masakim Mizonos. Mizonos is not just food, it's anything which makes her happy. That's what he says in the Ksuba Sikbu Gaichi. Talking about Mizonos Del Raisa, Ona is the basic bare minimum that the husband has to provide. With the Rabban, they're Masakim, and she gets all her needs taken care of. So we'll talk more about that Ona tomorrow. But in terms of what the man gets from his wife, he gets these 6 or 7 malachos that the woman does for him. If she's a nida, she still has to do these things for him, because these things are chores that she has to do to, for him to enjoy. However, when she brings a cocktail and makes the bed and they take a shower together, so then it's probably going to lead to intercourse, which is asr by anida. Maybe oral sex is not asr by anida. Hope you enjoyed today's share. Of course, it's the most controversial share ever given, but I think it's the truth. Hope you enjoyed. See you in the next one.